Hi everyone, it's Phil from Ashland Leather, and I would love to show you some really special leather goods today. We've got a Black Friday sale going on that includes everything that you're about to see in the video today, as well as everything we normally offer. We don't normally put shell cordovan on sale, so if you've been eyeing shell cordovan wallet, now would be a really good chance to pick one up. So let's start off first with a new shell cordovan color, at least it is new to us. Ivywood is a rare shell cordovan color. It has been produced for several years, but this is actually, I think, the first time we've ever offered it. So we have a Tony the Ant here, an Ivywood shell cordovan on the exterior with a reverse interior. And I've got another new piece to show you. A couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago now, we released this brand new leather from Horween, and this is a horsehide veg tan leather that they call Aspen. The Aspen leather here is a brand new formulation for the leather tannage, and they're also using a new leather finish that gives it this really nice, bright, sort of glossy and wet surface appearance that I really like. And then you get that very intense character of the grain. We have a couple Bugs Moran available in this color here that's called Acorn. And I wanted to show you the Fat Herbie I wore for about a month in this same Acorn Aspen leather. It's really developed a great patina. So I would love to get more of this leather, but it is so new, it is not yet available from the tannery. I've already put in an order to get more of this leather. So if you've been waiting around for some new Aspen leather wallets, you might wait a couple more months for us to get this leather in. It takes them a bit of time to make it. Let's keep it rolling here. I got some really special marbled shell cordovan, and this shell color is called marbled green. What they do is they layer on several layers of stain coats in that green color and then slowly scrape them away. And what you're left with is a little bit of a reveal of that natural color underneath. It's sort of like the natural shell cordovan color here with the green on top. Then you get a slight color gradient of all the colors in between. And this is my favorite wallet style, the Fat Herbie. We also have a nice hand stitch on this one all along the border. And then on the inside, we've got a nice piece of reverse shell cordovan that we've hand glazed in. And this is a proprietary finish that we've been doing in-house that also gives it a nice bright shine. And normally the reverse side of the shell cordovan is not this bright and shiny. Normally it's a little bit more of like a dull that you can see in the center. And I have the baby brother to the Fat Herbie. This is a wallet we call Tony the Ant. It's a similar aesthetic as the Fat Herbie with this exterior bill slot, although it is a smaller form factor. We've been doing this one for years now because people like the aesthetic and that vibe of the Fat Herbie, but they wanted it shrunken down in size. So this one is machine stitched on the marbled green shell cordovan, nice natural waxed and burnished edge for this guy. And then the interior, we also have some marbled green shell cordovan. We got a couple more special pieces that we've been saving all year. This is a 100% Cigar shell cordovan Johnny the Fox that has a nice hand stained edge as well. We've been holding on to the Cigar shells all year just to make a wallet for this moment. It's very difficult for us to source the naturally thin pieces of cordovan that we need for the inside of this wallet, especially in a rare shell color like the Cigar. So really beautiful, more of like a true dark brown shade on the Cigar shell. If you were to compare the Cigar shell cordovan to a color like color number 8, you would notice that the Cigar has much less red and burgundy to it, so it's more of a straightforward brown. So if you're looking for a brown shell wallet, this is the one to go with. And here's another fun piece here. This is actually reverse Ivywood, and it's all reverse. So we've got the great Horween shell cordovan ink stamp on the exterior. If you're looking for a nice patina, I really like all the reverse colors, including the reverse Ivywood here. The reverse Ivywood is kind of like the reverse natural shell, but you can see on the inside, it's a little bit more of a brown here. And what I love about the reverse shells, they do tend to age and look like that hand glazed piece that we looked at a moment ago. It will naturally start to appear more polished and shined up like that just with normal use. And then the interior, we also have all reverse for the interior of this guy with a Horween ink stamp in the center. We got a couple more pieces we're discounting. This is our Frank the Enforcer, and this is a modification on our normal Frank the Enforcer. We have an additional card slot on the back. We call this the 5-slot Frank the Enforcer. You've got the 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and then 1 larger section in the center. We're also calling this alternating card slot. So it's Cigar shell cordovan on reverse and then Cigar on the top. And then we've got the same combination on the back. And then I think the natural waxed and burnished edges really tie that whole piece together. Now here's another fun one. This is our Tony the Ant, just like the one we looked at earlier with that exterior bill slot. But the difference here is we have vertical card slots on the inside, and there are actually 6 card slots. So 2 verticals on each side and then hidden card slots underneath each of those. And then this is a really beautiful piece of natural shell Cordovan. It's a little bit more orangey and tan once it's been polished in, but this does not have any stains on it at all. That's just the natural color of the Cordovan. And I've got another nice hand glazed piece to show you here. This is our traditional Frank the Enforcer with the single card slot on the back. And this one is difficult to capture the luster in photos, which is why the video here is great. You can really see that bright shine that we were able to achieve on the reverse side of the shell Cordovan here. Really nice mirrored effect on the reverse shell. And then you've got all this really nice dye splatter that the reverse Cordovan has to offer. Now here's an interesting one. This is actually inverted shell Cordovan, but this is perhaps the most subtle version of inverted shell that I have come across. Usually you see more of the dyes and more of a contrast than we're seeing on this piece here. But this is almost more of like a whiskey shell Cordovan piece, although it's technically inverted black shell Cordovan. So I'm just calling this inverted shell. And then this one is really exciting for me. Now this kind of looks like a regular baseball, but this is Horween leather. And this is a leather that they don't actually make. This is a variation on Horween's Dover leather. Usually the Dover is a nubuck, but this is actually a full grain piece of steer hide that they've made in this really nice white shade. And I thought it'd be fun to do a very classic appearing baseball with that red hand stitch along the outside. And sort of opposite of that, this one makes me laugh. This is an official football leather baseball, which is kind of a mouthful, but we've taken the football leather that Horween is somewhat famous for making for all of the NFL footballs, and we've applied it to our baseball here, hand stitch it with a white thread to give it that sort of football appearance. And one more baseball that I wanted to show you. People seem to be loving the Western texture that Horween presses and embosses into leather. And we've done that on our most popular color. So this is a Western textured English tan Dublin baseball. We also have a couple Capone money clips. The first one here is marbled ultraviolet shell Cordovan with a hand stitching. We also have a nice natural waxed and burnished edge, and then more marbled ultraviolet on the inside. And this is sort of the same exact thing, except this one is machine stitch. So let's compare those side by side. You can really see just how bold and chunky the thread appearance is on the hand stitch one. The hand stitching thread that we use is very thick, and it actually will not fit through a machine. So it's the only way to get that really bold thread look. Let's go back to the machine stitch one here, because I noticed that the range of color on these marbled ultraviolet pieces are really dramatic. It's a little bit more subtle on the right piece here and a little bit more dramatic on the left. And then we're going to end it with two Fat Herbies, and these are ironically named. They're both cut from extra thin pieces of leather. So this Fat Herbie is an English tan Dublin. You might even be able to see just how thin that is right here. And I actually happen to love a thinner wallet personally. A lot of people come to us asking for leather as thick as possible. And I usually ask them why they want one as thick as possible. And their answer is often because they think it's more durable. And that's not necessarily the case. Not all thick leather is durable. All the leathers that we choose are high-end leathers from Horween, and they're tanned full of stuff. So they're very, very strong. In fact, they're so strong that we guarantee them forever to not rip. And then for me, I like wearing my wallet in my back pocket, so I usually want it as thin as possible. So a thin Fat Herbie here, ironically named, is a perfect choice for that, because you also have this unique card layout on the inside. You're not stacking as many cards on top of each other like on a Johnny the Fox, so it will just lay flatter because you're spreading out your cards over more surface area. And the last Fat Herbie here, as we're busy in the workshop, you might hear our vacuum in the background. This is also an ironically named Fat Herbie because we've used some extra thin pieces of denim blue shell, and this is a really nice piece of shell Cordovan. What you should be looking for in a piece of shell Cordovan is a really bright, shiny appearance. It should have a mirror-like shine to it. And then I like a really nice depth of color. It's a little bit more aqua blue at some angles and a little bit more of like a navy blue at other angles. And on top of that, it should have a very smooth feel and then a really rich feel as well. It should feel very round in your hand because it's vegetable tanned. The best way that I've come across to describe it is if you close it like a book and hold it in the palm of your hand, it should have a nice snap back to your hand. And that's exactly what you want to see from any piece of veg tan leather, including the shell Cordovan. So on the interior here, we've got some more of that extra thin denim blue shell. I'm going to come back to this guy and pick it as my stunner of the day. This marbled green shell Cordovan is not a color that I see very often from Horween. And it's a really beautiful look, especially on this specific Fat Herbie here. You can see that dramatic color shift as I spin it around. It's a little bit lighter at this angle and a little bit darker at that angle. I love all these more linear striations in the back of it. And then the hand stitching that matches more of the natural color really sets it over the top. So if you've been eyeing these videos for a bit and you've been curious about picking up one of our wallets that we make here in Chicago, this would be a great time to do it. We've got all the holiday deals up right now. I've got some more stuff coming over the weekend here and then throughout December, some more special deals. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.